You've seen the paintings, the shining armor, the noble horse, the sword raised towards heaven. You think you know what a knight was. You don't. Most knights died broke. Some died blind. Many spent their entire lives in service to a lord who never once learned their name. The armor wasn't glory, it was a furnace. In summer, you baked inside it. In battle, if you fell, you couldn't get up without help, and the men who knocked you down weren't going to wait. But here's what they don't tell you in the history books. Some men climbed from nothing, from sleeping on cold stone floors as children, all the way to commanding armies, shaping kingdoms, and deciding who lived and who died. Some made it. Most didn't. This is your life as every rank in the medieval knight hierarchy, from the very bottom, where you have no name and no choice, to the very top, where you finally understand what all of it cost. Rank 1. Page. You are 7 years old. You don't understand what's happening, only that your father has handed you to a stranger, and the stranger's castle is cold, and no one here knows your name, and no one seems to want to. You are a page, the lowest rank in the entire order, and your job for the next several years is to be useful without being noticed. You wake before dawn, you lay out your lord's clothes, you carry messages across corridors so vast they echo with your footsteps. You learn to serve meals without spilling, to stand still for hours without fidgeting, to speak only when spoken to, and even then, to say as little as possible. You are not a student yet. You're barely a servant. You're a boy in a castle that doesn't care whether you cry at night. But you watch. You watch the knights train in the yard, the way they hold their bodies, the way they move like weight and muscle are one thing. You watch the squires, older than you, already carrying swords they're not yet allowed to use. And you understand something deep in your chest that no one has said aloud. If you survive this, it begins. So you learn, reading, writing, the rules of the church, the names of lords and bloodlines. You learn to ride, first ponies, then horses, and the first time a horse throws you, you get up, and the second time, you get up faster. You play at sword fighting with wooden sticks, and you lose constantly to boys who've been here longer, but you get better, slowly, quietly. Nobody praises you for it. Praise is not part of this life. You are 7, then 8, then 10, then 12. And one morning, the Lord calls you forward, and everything changes.
Rank 2. Squire. You are a squire now, 14 years old, and everything about your life has shifted. You have a knight, one specific knight, and your entire existence, from morning until night, revolves around him. You clean his armor, every plate, every joint, every link of chainmail that could rust and fail and cost him his life in battle. You learn to do it right, not because anyone thanks you, but because if you do it wrong, he might die. And if he dies, so does any future you have. You carry his shield into the field, you hold his horse, you hand him his lance before the joust, and you watch, hard hammering, as he rides at full speed toward another man riding full speed at him. The sound of a lance breaking against a shield is something that vibrates inside your ribs. You never get used to it. You are learning to fight now. Real training. Swords, maces, shields, combat on horseback. Your body transforms. You are always sore, always bruised. Your hands grow hard. Your balance improves. You stop flinching. And then, one day, your knight takes you to your first real battle. Not a tournament, not a joust, real war. Mud and screaming, and men falling, and the smell of something you don't have a word for yet, because nothing in your life before today prepared you to name it. Your knight fights. You stay close, ready to hand him another weapon, ready to drag him back if he falls. You do not fight. Not yet. You are not allowed. But you see everything. You see what a sword actually does to a man. You see what fear looks like on a soldier's face in the last second before impact. You see that the stories, the songs, the poetry about honor and glory leave out the part where the ground turns a particular color by the end of the afternoon. You ride home without speaking. Your knight doesn't either. That night, you clean the armor again, and you understand now for the first time what you're really cleaning off it. Rank 3, Knight. The ceremony is called dubbing, and it is the most important morning of your life. You have knelt the entire night in a chapel, alone with God and a candle, thinking about everything you were swearing to become. Honor, courage, service, the code of chivalry, which sounds like a poem and turns out to be a cage. And then, in the morning light, a sword touches each of your shoulders. Someone speaks Latin, and you rise, a knight. Sir. They call you Sir now. You have your own armor, and you understand immediately how expensive it is, because you're the one who had to find the money for it. You have a horse, a sword, and a responsibility to a lord who owns the land you ride on and can take everything back whenever it suits him. The first years are exhilarating. You are fast, you are skilled, you have spent a decade preparing for this, and now the preparation is over and the life has begun. Tournaments bringing fame, small ones, then larger ones. You win, you take prizes, your name is spoken. You are exactly what the songs promised you could be. Then winter comes, and your lord calls you to campaign. You march for weeks through rain. Your armor weighs 60 pounds. Your horse goes lame. Men under you, soldiers, not knights, men with no armor and no names, die from illness before the enemy even appears. You bury them in fields with no markers. You fight 3 battles in 6 months. You survive all 3. 2 of the men you trained with do not. You return home changed. Something is quieter in you now. You sit at the feast, and the music plays, and the Lord raises his cup to your valor, and you drink, and you smile, and inside you are somewhere else entirely. You start to wonder, never out loud, whether the oath you swore in that chapel was a promise or a sentence. But there is no going back. There is only forward. There is only up.
Rank 4, Knight Commander. You are a Knight Commander, and you have everything they told you to want. Land, title, men who answer to you, dozens of them, then hundreds, a seat at the Lord's table near the head, a voice in the decisions that move armies across maps. Your name is known, your reputation built over 20 years of service, of wounds that healed and wounds that didn't, of winters that stripped everything comfortable from you and summers that burned. You made it. You actually made it. And now, every morning, you send men to places you've already been, places you know, and you watch their faces, the younger ones especially, the ones who still believe in the song version of this life, and you say nothing to correct them. Because what would you say? That honor is real, but smaller than the poems claim. That courage is real, but it doesn't protect you from grief. That you have held dying men whose last words were not noble or brave, but just confused, just frightened, just human. The throne you sit in at the War Council is oak, and it's cold, and the men around the table are debating numbers. How many to send north? How many can be lost? You look at the numbers and you see faces. The table does not. This is the part they left out of every story you were told, the part that lives in the gap between what knighthood is supposed to be and what it actually is. You are powerful. You are respected. You are alone in a way that rank makes permanent. There is a young page in your castle, 7 years old, watching you from across the hall with enormous eyes, the way you once watched the knights in a courtyard that seemed impossibly far above you. He thinks you have everything. You look at him and remember who you were, and you think, I hope it's worth it for him. I hope he gets to decide that for himself at the end, when the armor comes off and the candle's almost gone. Because the truth, the one they never put in the songs, is that the top of the hierarchy isn't glory. It's responsibility you can never put down. It's knowing exactly what every order costs, because you've paid the price yourself in years and blood and the faces you still see when the hall goes quiet. You reach the top, and the view is not what you were promised. It never is.